Trying this again. I had to kill that stream and start a new one. Let's see if this one works. I don't know why it buffered out like that. Wouldn't keep going. So, well, I hope y'all can make it back. Continue on. Cool. Alright, like I said, I didn't know how long it would take to get back, so I just killed that one, started a new one. I'm sorry. Like I was showing you a second ago before the stream went wonky, is these 2020 dimes. When I got the rolls of quarters, because one of my branches were like, we can't give you anything but one of each. It's like, okay, so I took a nickel, dime, and a quarter. Didn't find anything in the others, but of consequence. But the dimes, before I didn't look at the ends before I opened it to realize it was a 2020 roll, because the pennies I've been getting, I've just been throwing in my into my safe because there's no point in searching them. So since it was already open, Smart Boy, let me check real quick. Let me look up something. Look at my documents and pull up who won what. Let's see, Google Docs. Or was it Google Sheets? Yeah, it wasn't Google Docs, it was Google Sheets. Yeah, let me look and see. No, that's the wrong one. That's theirs, not mine. Okay, there it is. Prizes. All right. Let's see. Smart 1, 2, 3, 4. You got the Buffalo, the Graham, the Copper, the Bar. You won. You won like 4 different things. Let me check. Alright, that's not it. So let me check the other one. New York. The 29th, that was yesterday. Okay. Oh, you got yours? Alright, Big Mike, that's good. Smart Boy, what state was yours going to? Because I sent them all out at the same time, and all but one, okay, one of them was going to New York and actually had to do tracking on it because it was over an ounce a weight, and so I couldn't just put it in an envelope and send it out like I did the rest. Yours was just under an ounce, but it was in an envelope with all the others, and what I did was basically to keep the weight down is I took 2 of these, then I took a little plastic bag and put your stuff in it, taped it to it, and then stuck it in the envelope and mailed it that way with a stamp. So far, 3 people have said they've received their mail, their envelopes, and the one person that I sent the package to received theirs. Now, there were 8 total things sent out. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there were 8 things sent out. Okay, because that's everybody that was in the stream, and so 7 envelopes went out. And so far, I've heard 3 people, I think now, has said they received theirs. So there's still 4 that either hadn't told me yet or haven't received it yet. So tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, because coming from Texas to Utah, and the New York one got there already, and it was first class mail like the rest. So yeah, like I said, I didn't insure any of it because it was I wanted to keep my costs down, and that was a risk I was willing to take. And if it doesn't get there, I will get you something to compensate. I've got other things I can send you. If it doesn't get there by the end of the week, let me know, and I'll send you something out, and I'll spend the money to insure to make sure it gets there. So I'll pick something to make it worth your while. It sucks that you don't get. I've got a list of what you won, so I can't replace them identically, but I can get something together that'll be just as good. So if it doesn't make it by the end of this week, let me know and we'll do something about it. Okay? All right, I'm going to start working on these rolls some more. So I got still half a box to go. I don't mind, though. I like going through coins. I like talking to the community. It's fun just to hang out and just to be able to talk to somebody. Here's an example of one of those ATVs that are just super nice condition. And I'm finding a bunch of them. This is a 2017 one. The mailing has been crazy, and a lot of the time it just takes a week longer, yeah. Oh, there's not a problem, smart boy. DC. I want to make sure that everybody's happy and that everybody gets what's owed them, and I want to do right by you. I'm not gonna leave you out in the cold if something gets screwed up. You know, because if it was something more substantive, I would have insured it anyway. But because these were all small little things, I didn't. I'm not saying I wanted to take the cheap route, but it just didn't justify putting insurance on these things, because it's only a couple of dollars worth of prizes, really, and fairly easily replaceable. Wow, that's another DC that's in really nice condition. District of Columbia. That's 2 things. Oh, and my first Hawaiian... No, that's Mount Hood. No, never mind. The Hawaiian Volcano ATB is another oddity that's kind of rare. I don't think I have one available to show you. I might. Let me check. Yeah, I got one I can show you. For some reason, I don't know why, but I only see 1 or 2 of these a box, if that. And that's the Hawaiian Volcano from 2012. It's just a rare quarter I just don't see them that often. It's a 2012 Hawaiian Volcano. Silver Nitrate actually mentioned it one time when he was cornrow hunting that he didn't see them. And I started looking, they were pretty rare. Well, this, I don't know if you hear when I told everybody, but this was luck because I knew the manager. And I went in, asked if I could just get a couple of rolls because I was jonesing to hunt. And she's known me a while. And I asked her if she have any quarters, and she says, well, she's got less than 2 boxes, but their banks get them from Wells Fargo. And in my area so far, they've told all my banks that I go to that they're no longer sending out coinage at this time. I think they're doing that so they can get caught up with all the bags they have stuck in storage, trying to roll them because they're this pandemic's causing backups. That's why there's not a coin shortage. There's a coin bottleneck, is what I call it. It's just you can't find them because they're not in rolls. But what she did, because she knows I coin roll hunt, she goes, "Look, I'll sell you the box, sealed box that I got. I want them back." So she basically said, "Look, you can go hunt them and bring them back." So it's like, "Yes, ma'am, I will." So I'm hunting them and I will bring them back. That's why I'm rolling them as I go, so I can take them back. If you've got some banks that you know the ladies or the people there pretty well, offer to do that. Say, "Hey, if you have any rolls, would you at least quote unquote loan them to me? I'll buy them and I promise to bring them back." And if you've known them a while and they know you pretty well, they may say yes. It's not like, I mean, if you've been honest with them and they think you're a good guy and you're honest with them, they'll take that chance with you. And now that's only going to feed your habit for so long, because of course with you doing that, you're not going to get new rolls over time, because the ones you bring back, you pretty much for now have technically burned that bank of getting any more coins, because you've already went through them all and they're not getting any new coins in. So until the quarantine's over and they start getting more coinage in, that bank's going to be relatively dead for coins but at least that one shot you'll get to do something until next time. Take a chance, ask them, say, "Hey, can I borrow the coins for a week or a couple of days, however long it takes you to go through them, and I promise to roll them and bring them back straight to you. I want a coin roll hunt." And that may be something that they're willing to do for you. Never know. Silver Nitrate mentioned something about that, because they're not getting hit as hard on this quarantine, where he said they're showing up 2017s and 2018s. My theory of all this has always been there's not a shortage, there's a bottleneck. You've got all these there's billions upon billions of coins out there. Now, granted, people are holding on to them because they can't go anywhere. I get that. But that alone does not explain the shortage. But me sending in coins through coin machines at my banks, so I got 2 banks with coin machines, and watching these people come and pick them up, 10 bags at a time with thousands of coins, mixed coins in them in each bag, I think, and that's the second thing. First thing is, I think people are holding on to them because they don't know what to do with them. Second, I think that the coin companies have bags and bags and bags of mixed coins sitting in their warehouse waiting to be rolled, because they don't have the manpower to roll them. You got to have people to run those machines and make sure everything's flowing right. And if you're working a skeleton crew, you can't go as fast as you normally can. So that lends me to believe that that's the second thing that's going on, is due to the pandemic and that not being an essential service. It's definitely distribution. I think that's the major one. And another thing that leads me to believe that's a distribution error, is all those 2017, 2018s are showing up. And I got 2 boxes, my last 2 boxes of halves. When I got them, there was dust, thick dust on the top of the box, to the point where I could write my name in the dust. That means they came out of their warehouse. They'd been sitting there a while. And I found silver in those boxes, which also leads me to believe they may have been sitting there a while. So if they're pulling out of their warehouses, they're pulling old stock of rolls out of their warehouses to keep up. That means you're getting your old 17 and 18s off these pallets that have been sitting in their warehouses for a couple of years. They're working down their stock, is what they're doing. And so with coinage can't come back in because no machines or people are holding on to it. On top of the coins that are coming in are getting backed up, and just bags and bags are sitting in the warehouse waiting to be rolled because there's nobody there to do it. And the fact that they're pulling old stock out off the pallets out of their warehouse to distribute, i.e. the 2017s and 2018s are showing up, and old halves are showing up, old boxes of halves rather. That in combination leads me to believe it's not a shortage of coins. It's a, like you said, a distribution error. There's the logistics isn't there. When you ain't got the people to spread it around, when you ain't got people to pick it up, when you ain't got people to roll it, I mean, it's causing this whole bottleneck of coinage, which means nobody's getting coins because there's all these gears are all the cogs are stopped. So, but that's what I think's going on. Shortage is the wrong word in my book. It's not shortage. It's distribution. There's a distribution issue, which is causing a shortage. I think is the more correct term to put it. But they just wanted to say shortage, and in my opinion, by just saying there's a coin shortage actually causes panic. Because what is somebody going to do if they think there's a shortage? They're going to hoard. If they think there's a toilet paper shortage, what do? They hoard it. If they think there's a coin shortage, what are they going to do? They're going to hoard it. That means it's going to make the problem worse, not better. So by using the word shortage, they actually probably did themselves a disservice. Yeah, billions and millions, exactly. Problem is, they're all sitting in a few spots waiting to be sent back out, and nobody to be there to do it. As I said before, I think there's a 3 to 8 second delay on my stream. That's about as best as I could get it in terms of stream delay. So if I start answering things or saying things a few seconds after you've said something and it seems like it's a loft, that's probably why, because there is that delay. Bank on Arkansas was paying 102 cash for every 100 in coins you brought them. Yeah, I mean, it's free money. I mean, percentage-wise, it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're sitting on a lot of coinage, yeah, that's definitely free money. And if you think about it, Coinstars were taking 12% for you to dump your coins, and people were doing it. And my coin machines at my banks, they gave me a $250 limit before they started taking 10%. Now they took 10% of the overage, not of the whole 250. So, but yeah, if you brought in more than 250, they took 10% of the overage. And I think my banks have decided to, if you bring in rolls, then they'll give you, I think, 1 or 2% also, and it's because they need the coins. Like I said earlier, the distributors aren't sending them anything anymore because they ain't got it to send because they can't roll them fast enough. Yeah, but that $2 would only work if you had. I mean, even $1,000 is only a $20 bill. That is terrible. Way too much. I'd rather roll than pay. Yeah, I won't pay. I won't pay percentage. In fact, when I first got started, I had a whole bunch of $50 I didn't know what to do with because I could only turn in $250 a day, and I had $2,000 in $50 I wanted to recoup, and it was taking forever. And instead of, and so I had them rolled up to begin with before I realized that they wouldn't take them back that way around here, and so I was using the machine. So I just started spending them. Ordered out one time, gave them $50 in halves. They looked at me funny, but they took it because they knew it was money. They knew it spent. Went to a KFC, bought lunch. I'm in Texas. I'm in the DFW area. I'm up here near Rob. Except he's up in the northern part of DFW, in Frisco area. I don't know if he said it before. I shouldn't have probably said that. But he's in the northern part of DFW area, and I'm in the eastern part. And, Yeah, I don't know. He's still getting halves and stuff, but I can't. My banks have shut me down. He probably has a better rapport with his bankers, with his tellers and such. Whereas I know these ladies, but not well. And another thing is he banks at several banks, big banks, where I use regional banks that are located inside like grocery stores and stuff, so they don't get a lot of people bringing stuff in as much as other places. And so I don't have as many opportunities of finding the really cool stuff. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure because it's regional bank, any coins I dump off aren't going to make its way back to me anytime soon because of that. So Marianas. Having a good run on 2009s. That's pretty cool. I haven't found any really, really nice ones. Well, I found those District Columbias today that are really nice. But I don't know if I could put a set of really nice ones together yet. I may start doing that, though. Putting sets of them together. Since they are kind of hard to find. I think 2009 was a rough year because it was right after the crash. And so the mints didn't print near as much as everything else that year. I don't know. I just know that they're harder to get. And when you go through an entire box of quarters, you only find a handful normally. I usually only find 2 or 3. Today I found a dozen of the mix. Now I've only found like one of a couple of them, but I found a bunch of District Columbias and 3 Marianas, but one of each of the other ones. Are the pennies pretty common? Yeah. I've never really been a coin collector, so I don't keep up with all the different things. I got into this because of silver. I'm a silver bug. Love silver. Love collecting it. Love accumulating it, stacking it. I don't think there'll be a time where it'll be needed. But I'm a firm believer in the fact that as the dollar erodes and our paper currency gets worse and worse and things cost more and more, 2011 was a real good indicator of what the value of the store value of silver was. Ron Paul in session one time pulled out a silver ounce and he said, I can buy a tank of gas with this now, and 50 years ago I could buy the same tank of gas with it. He says that's a store of wealth when you can go that long and still get the same quantity of items for the same amount of stuff. That's store value. Whereas today our dollar is not a store value because it just erodes. Same thing with gold if you think about it. In the 20s and 30s, or 10s and 20s rather, a 1 ounce gold coin at the time would get you a really nice professional suit. And nowadays, that same ounce of gold coin, if you converted it in today's dollars and bought the suit, you can buy you a really nice professional suit for a couple of grand. So that store value has stayed there in that gold. Now, yes, there's been ups and downs, but overall, over time, you still wind up with that store value. Yeah, a lot better than the dollar bill, anyway. Take a dollar that was printed in the 1910s and 20s, American currency, or 30s, or whatever, when they were being made, and see how much it's worth. What can you get with it? even if you collected it and converted it, you're not going to get the same amount that you would get in terms of the gold, because it doesn't hold value like gold and silver does. That's why they're called precious metals, because they're rare. That's a pretty good Alabama. It's got some good luster to it. Let me set that over there with the Minnesota and check it out. Yeah, I noticed 2009s are rare. I went through a roll of nickels and I found, well, I found a speared bison, a couple of those. Not speared bison, sorry. I've seen those. But I found a 2005 bison in the last roll I had. I know those are fairly rare. Yeah, I live in the area where the speared bisons first originated from 2005. Actually, my uncle-in-law, no, step-uncle. It's my stepdad's, well, no, it's probably my stepdad's cousin. So that would make, no relation, but step-cousin. He was one of the first ones to discover, that wasn't the discoverer, but he was one of the first ones to discover the speared bison on the nickels in 2005. Because they were showing up in East Texas, and he lives in East Texas. And he actually had, because back then the grading fees were not near as high as they are now, he actually had about a dozen of them graded from 65 to 67 range. And I don't know if he still got them. I don't know. He hoards stuff, so he probably still does. But I remember at one time when I looked him up, a 65 was doing like $1,500. Like, wow, that's an increase. Because from what I understand on those was they minted them, the error happened, and they only made it for like 48 hours before the mint caught it and changed out the die. And those particular boxes primarily came to East Texas. The vast majority of them did. Because there was actually one of the discoverers, because there's about 3 people that actually around the same time figured out that there were errors. I didn't know, this is secondhand knowledge, but one of the discoverers, when he found out about it, went and bought up several boxes of nickels from the banks around there, and those were the nickels that had the holy bottoms, so you could see in them. And he had, now the cousin, he got to see some of those boxes, and the guy had 8 boxes of those nickels in his closet, and he pulled one of them out and flipped it over so you could see the holes and shined a flashlight, and you could see speared bisons through the holes. So he had 8 boxes with speared bisons in them. All right, smart boy. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate it. I'll catch you on the flip side. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but yeah, those things took off in price. If you know what I'm talking about, look up the 2005 speared bison. It's a recognizable variety, and they PCGS is where he went to get them graded, and yeah, PCGS and NGC, they're both on there. I haven't looked up the price in a long time though. No. I'm determined to get done with these tonight. One a little slower than I figured. Come on. What's getting caught? Oh, that's what's getting caught. All right, moving on. Hey, Siren, how you doing? How's your evening going? Or morning? I don't know where you're at. It's like 11 o'clock here, so in Texas. So. Haven't really found anything of significance. Check that $2 Hawaiian. Just a really nice bicentennial, a potential spitting horse, Delaware, and then a bunch of let's see, a few stake quarters that look real nice that I'll check against my book and see. And then 2009s. I pull all the 2009s because they seem to be rarer than the rest. So other than that, hadn't found anything really exciting. no major errors, no W's, nothing like that yet. So. Having to re-roll these because I promised the bank manager I would. She says, I'll sell you the boxes. You promised to bring it back. So I promised. I'm a man of my word. She'll get them back. I said she'll have them by the end of the week. I'll probably bring them back tomorrow. Just I want to get that money back in my bank account. She said she had $400 in rolls also on top of these. I may trade her out just to get those hit, and then that bank will be effectively coin dead to me until coin starts flowing again. Promise try to bring her my change I've got laying around too. I've probably got another $100 in just mixed coins in my coin jar. I'll roll up, bring her. She'll be happy about that, I'm sure. This one's got one of the Horn Pacifics on the end. That's an old funky bicentennial. That's a D. How's your day been, Siren? Did you have to go to work? Yeah, me neither. But I'm a teacher, so I don't work during summer. So I got some not so great news today about teaching for next semester. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow, a school-wide meeting about how we're going to approach next semester, and it looks like they're going to do a blended learning thing where we're going to be teaching in class and online, and we're going to be teaching the same thing to both. And I don't know how the logistics to that's going to work, other than the fact of of teaching twice unless they're going to put live stream cameras in all the rooms. That's the only thing I can think of that they can do to make that work. District of Columbia. Otherwise, we will be teaching twice, doubling effectively our workload. But I'll find out tomorrow more about that. Hey, Siren, I got a roll of dimes today just to have something to open before I got this box. And there's a roll of 2020s and I opened it before I realized it. But there's an error or die clash or strike through or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is exactly on some of these dimes. And I wound up with 10 of them out of that roll. If you see here, it's got a clash or something right there starting his hair, going all the way down to his chin, almost to his neck area. Now I wound up with 10 of them, and they are in varying intensities. That's one of the most prominent ones. Some of them are so light and faint that if you have to catch it in the light to see the streak that it left, almost like a scratch. But it's the same. It's the same as this, just not as deep. But that one there is one of the deep ones. I got 3 of them like that, and then the other ones are just sort of not as prominent. But it's something that people are recognizing as some kind of error variety, and I mean they're not doing much on eBay. That's the place I went to check and see exactly what it was after I found Reddit. There was a letter on somebody posted on Reddit about it, and then people have them on eBay for a couple of bucks a piece, which doesn't sound like a lot. But when you're talking about a dime, that's 20 times their money for a dime, So I'll wait and see what they're doing, Maybe, keep a couple of the real good ones for myself, put them in my collection of weird oddities, and see what I can do with the rest. Maybe giveaways or trades or something. Somebody might want it and they have something I want, Found it interesting. If I'd have caught that it was a 2020 roll up front, I probably wouldn't have opened it. So I've got like 4 rolls of pennies now because they keep giving me 2020 pennies. I don't know any reason to open them, so I've just left them sealed and put them in my safe. But that got opened accidentally, and then I realized they were 2020s. Like, well, I can't roll them back up. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Nice, Connecticut. And the mid-90s coins. There are so many of them that with high luster on them, it's just, you think you found something good, and you notice it's a 90 something. When he rolls, whew, I'm over 60% done. It's just taking a little while having to re-roll them as I go. Got a bunch of goodies, nothing substantial, but fun nonetheless. Just enjoying doing it. Anything nice be icing on the cake, in my opinion. What perchance is that? Something along that edge. Can't quite tell. it is definitely, I don't know, I can't say definitely. It doesn't look like a scratch, but it is so light that I don't know if you'd count that as a cud. It's almost a shadow of a cud. I'm going to hold it back though, because that's a potential. Be one of the first ones to find too, if it is. Have to get a closer inspection on it. Maybe a snow on the roof. I don't know. We'll find out. Like I said, just get closer inspection on it. I don't want to kill too much time right now. Got too many to go through. I've seen more of these homestead quarters than any other ATVs. Just there's a lot of homestead quarters out there. I shot this one with a BB. Huh. Didn't quite make it through. Well, almost did. Looks like there's something coming out of its mouth. I think I might have found one. It's got some problems with it, but I thought I saw something coming out of its mouth. I guess not. I guess that's just scratches. I was getting a little excited there for a moment. Oh well. My first Hawaiian volcano. Hawaiian volcano from 2012. Seemed to be very rare. First one of those. Wow, that's two. Oh, just don't quite see anything in that one. It's pretty good quality. That's a nice one. Hey, Silver Soul, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Just looking through these quarters. Managed to get a box today. Doing pretty good. Like I said, I got a box today. I'm just going through them, seeing if I can find any goodies. Haven't found anything great. Just found a bunch of 2009, some potentials to fill in my books of state and ATB quarters. That's about it. A couple of potential errors like a Snow on the Roof and Spitting Horse, but I have to look at them more closely. That looks like the initials are covered up. What do y'all think? Oops. I'm trying to move that. I'm trying to focus. Let's see here. Yep. It is covering up to some of the letters. Cool. Found the Arizona, what do they call it? Extra leaf. Die cut over the initials. That's pretty cool. First thing of substance I've actually found so far. Yeah. It's not. It doesn't look like it's a full AZ cover, but it's definitely covering the first initial, so that's all that matters, right? I like to hunt halves, but the bank that I get them from, due to this distribution issue they're having, the Wells Fargo won't ship them to them. And then second is quarters, and I hunt for W's and errors and varieties and things like that. Those are the two major ones. Now, when I can't find those, I'll take what I can get. Like today, one of my branches of my bank wouldn't give me anything. Another branch said they'd give me one of each roll. So they gave me a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and 2 pennies to make it an even dollar. Nothing in the quarters, nothing in the nickels. I put the pennies in the safe because they're 2020s. What's the point? And the dimes, but I didn't look, and I opened them, and they were 2020s. Like, well, crap. So I said, is there any reason worth hunting them? So I looked up, and I found a Reddit post talking about some kind of die clash. So I searched for it, and sure enough, I had some. Out of those 50, I wound up with 10 of them. If you can see, there's a definite mark along the right in there, and it looks like maybe somebody stenciled in. But the thing is, out of a roll of 50, I found 10 of them of varying degrees of depth. In other words, some of them are real strong, you can really see it. Some of them are real light, like it's just a scratch along the line, but it's in the same position. So no, it's not a scratch, it's an actual clash or strike through. I don't know what you call it. I just know that it's something that people have found. It's on the 2020Ds, and I mean, people have been getting $2 to $3 on eBay for them. So I guess if you can get 20 to 30 times your money on anything, that's a good day, right? So if I found 10 of them out of a roll of 50, so I put them in little holders and showing them off. But that's what it looks like. That's the predominant one. That's the one that really stands out. But yeah, mainly I just hunt halves and quarters. I've thought about getting into nickels because I know there's some varieties and errors out there that are worth a little bit if you find them. I don't collect non-silver so much. I'm a silver bug. I collect silver and gold. Okay. Yeah, it's just you mainly do nickels. Yeah. I've picked up a few rolls of nickels. I knew to look for 2009s, and I pulled out I found one 2009 out of like 3 rolls I've looked at, and nothing 50 and below. And I found I found 5 2005s, and I know to look for those because they had the different backs on them. I remember those because of the speared bison from 2005. Actually was discovered here in Texas, in East Texas, and one of my second cousins that lives out in East Texas. He was one of the first ones to find them. Got them graded and everything back in the day. He had like a dozen of them. He took and graded them. They were from 64 to 68, I think is the range that he had. He had 168, 167, a bunch of 66s, and then, I don't know, he did dozens of them. Because he knew a guy that when they first started appearing, he went around and picked up pretty much every box he could find. Yeah, he wouldn't let me have any of them either. I was kind of upset about that because I was teaching back then too, and I had the money. I offered him $100 for one of them, graded, and he said, "No, I think I'll hold on to it, see what happens." All right, that's fine. You be greedy, stingy. I didn't hold it against him because he was a collector. He was. I mean, his collection was. He had 10,000 coins in his collection. And half of them were graded at that point because what he would do is every time he'd get his monthly check-in, he'd send off 10 or 12 coins at a time. And he did that for years. As soon as they started grading, practically, he was doing it. So he was a big-time collector. He had all kinds of pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters and just all kinds of stuff like that. Rare stuff. Well, he said it was rare. I didn't know what I was looking at, honestly. Ooh, that's a neat quarter. That's a neat nickel. I didn't even know what the speared bison was until he showed it to me, and he actually had to show it to me under a loupe for me to get to see to actually see it because I didn't know what I was looking for. I know what I'm looking for now. But yeah, he did well on those. He wound up with a bunch of them, and the guy that gave him the box to search traded him. He traded him some of his coins in his collection for the box. I don't know what he gave up for it. But the guy he got the box from had 8 more boxes in his closet, and they were holy bottoms you could see in. And he actually pulled them out like a year later to show him that he still had them. And my cousin said that he took a flashlight and flashed in there, and you could catch 1 or 2 of the ends that were showing the bison. You could see the spear in it if you hit the light just the right way. So he knew that he had 8 more boxes of nickels in his closet that had speared bisons in them. Oh, the money the man has now, right? Because last time I looked, which was probably 5-6 years ago at least, a 64 was doing like 1,500. I don't know what they're doing now, but I know that they only, from what I understand, the mint said that the print only went for like 24, 48 hours before it was caught and they replaced the die. And the predominance of those coins, the majority of them, went to the East Texas distribution center. And so they wound up all in East Texas, most of it in East Texas. That's me. I collect, my initial hobby, I got into this was silver collecting. I stacked bullion. And then when it got to where I was financially unable to stack ounces at a time, I started getting into constitutional, and now I'm real big into that because 390s is practically an ounce. So if you open a box of halves and you find 390% halves, then you've got an ounce of silver for free or for $1.50. Yeah, the speared bison is really neat looking. I actually thought about buying one later on after the fact, but they're just so expensive. I mean, especially since the fact I had them in my hand, I could have just pocketed one from him, and he probably wouldn't have known it because he had a stack of them. I wouldn't have done that to him, though. I'm not that kind of person. But when you see oddities like that, you need to take advantage because it don't come around often. Something like that. But they said that the print run on those of that error maybe is a 2 days worth of printing at best, and most of them went to East Texas. So oh yeah, I'm one of those guys that That's money. This is currency. And the difference is the store of wealth. They both function the same in day-to-day activities, but silver and gold store wealth. Ron Paul said it best back when silver spiked to the 30s and 40s in 2011. He was talking to Congress, and he held up a silver round, and he says, "When I was a kid, I could have bought this silver round." I think he said something like 26 cents. It was some insanely cheap price. He says, and at the same time, I could have filled up my car for the same amount of money. He says, here it is, 2011, and now I can take this same round and fill up my car with gas. He says, that's preservation of wealth right there. When you can see something make it through time and still give you the same value that you could anywhere you check in time. Now, of course, it fluctuates. It'll get higher and lower. But when you average it out, it holds its wealth. And that's what precious metals do. They store wealth. Now, if you look at it from a short-term perspective, you may gain or lose. But overall, in the end, you're going to gain. You're going to hold your wealth. A lot more than that paper dollar in your wallet will, that's for sure. A lot more than that paper dollar in your wallet. That was back when I first started getting into bullion. Now, that was probably the wrong time of year to do it, because that was when it was coming off of its high and it was still in the 30s, but I started stacking then, and I haven't stopped since. I've stacked probably more in the last year than I did in the last 10, because I went back to work finally, and I had the money to do it. Up to that point, I was lucky to get an ounce a month because I was on disability, and that small check only goes so far. But I've gotten better, and I'm back to work now, I'm making enough money to do what I want. Yeah, in one version or another, silver and gold has always been used to barter, to trade, to people willing to hold on to that and give up their stuff for it for 5,000 years. And paper has come and gone. Honestly, the only reason our paper dollars are still in existence now is by sheer will of politics. The United States, for lack of anything else, they were able to manipulate the world into making their currency the world reserve currency. Everything, it backs everybody else's. And that's the only reason it still exists to this day. You see other countries' currency come and go. Prime example is Mexico's currency. In my lifetime alone, I've seen them reset their currency 3 times. Because there's no value in it. It's all just on the faith of the public. But our government has been able to finagle, impress, suppress, impede. You can use all the verbs and adjectives to say what they've done in the last 100 years to make sure that ours lasts. But it'll have its day in court, and I'm gonna have like I said, it's gonna have its day in court, and when it does, they're gonna have to do a reset, and everybody that's got paper currency and that's all they've got are gonna lose their butts. Because when you saw in the major crisis 2008, 2009, what happened to other countries, they went to negative interest rates. They went to reclamation of people's bank accounts, just taking their money. Oh, I almost missed out. Virgin Islands. And, negative interest rates is not something you want. That means you're paying them to hold your money. I don't think digital will ever be the dominant currency in the world. Only reason because is there's too many areas of the world that are, I guess you could call third world. You got to remember that 2/3 of the world population is still considered third world. They're just now getting modern amenities of life, that we consider modern, normal, like internet. And think of how it was in the 70s and 80s, and that's where a lot of countries are at now. Digital in the first world countries, I could see digital being predominant. Technically, it already is now. What do you use to buy with nowadays? Mostly credit cards, online shopping. You don't use currency. You use currency when you go to the local gas station or store, maybe. You use currency when you're out and about, maybe. But generally, it's credit cards, something like that. So we're already in a digital market. And that's why the government's able to take and just print ones and zeros into existence, because they're not having to actually use a printing press. They just flip a switch and boom, there's $1 trillion. I don't know if you do any watching of goldsilver.com. They have a YouTube channel also. I think his name is Max something. I can't remember his name. Not Max Kaiser, but he's funny sometimes. Anyway, he talks about how currency is just created into existence. And there, when you're looking at the physical currency in the world, or in America, we're sitting at like $3-4 trillion of actual currency, but then we've got another 15 to 20 digital, and so we're already in a digital world. Now, when it comes to cryptocurrency, I don't see it holding on, and the main reason is I don't see it is because it's too reliant on other things to work. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have internet, if you don't have electricity, if you don't have the basics to run it, you're not going to be able to access it. So it has a fungibility problem in that respect. Now, some of the old timer silver and gold bugs, they stand by it and say, hey, it stood the course of time, and it's. But let's be real and honest. If you're stacking to preserve your wealth, you're also in the back of your mind stacking for the end of days. Everybody that's stacking has that in the back of their mind. What if? It probably won't, but what if? And if it does, and everything goes to pot, there ain't going to be no internet as we know it to be able to get your ones and zeros out. It's going to be what's in your hand to give the person that they want, that you want. That's possible. The problem is with cryptocurrency, anybody can create their own cryptocurrency because the coding and algorithm is open source. So anybody can start their own. They can tweak it and change it. What makes Bitcoin the big dog is because it was first and it established quick. And when they started that algorithm out, they set the limit at 20 million coins. It was a real low number. So because of that, it was able to maintain a high value because of its limitations. And the way it's mined, it's like every time one is found, the chance of finding another one gets harder. So, and it's at the point now where 80% of them have been found or mined. And so the chances of mining another one are extremely low. See, and that's backing a digital currency with gold and using it is basically the same thing they're doing now, or did, but when we went to paper. So yeah, if you do something like that, crypto would work okay. The problem is down the road, what's going to happen? The same thing happens every time when you do that. You start weaning yourself off of the gold, which is the true store of value, and you wind up with a worthless piece of ones and zeros. It's a catch-22. Mike Maloney, that's his name. I knew I'd catch it. He said that most currencies will only last 40 years in the iteration they are. And the current iteration of our American dollar is at year 73. So 83930313. It's coming up on 50 years. So it's overdue for a reset. So we may see the dollar survive if they change how it's backed. Maybe they go to a pseudo gold back again, something like that. Keep the gold floating freely, but then start backing our currency with it. That's what I think it was Dubai tried it first. They started issuing currency that actually had pieces of gold on the currency. You know, like our gold backs we see in like Utah Made, and there's another one that just came out, Gold Base or something like that, that has a tiny sliver of gold on it, like it's super paper thin, but it's the equivalent weight of what that value of the note is at the time, rather. And let's see if that knows. Oh, that's disgusting looking. Oh, yeah, it's crud. Okay. You're gonna, in order to maintain, it's gonna have to have something that's gonna have to have a store of wealth to it. If you don't give it something of value to hold on to, latch on to, it'll never have value. And the value of the faith and public trust is going the way of the dodo. People do not trust their governments anymore. Not to the way they used to. Not blind trust. Not the way it was 50 years ago, blind trust. You know, not when our grandparents were alive in World War II, the greatest generation came about. They had blind trust in the government because the government, I wouldn't say 100% deserved it, but yeah, the government at the time earned some of that trust. Our government today has not earned that trust. They're actually losing trust daily. There's more fringe groups out there now in America than there ever has been. There is more strife and turmoil in our society now than there has been since the civil rights movement. So yeah, our government, our society and our government as a whole is ripe for a shift. I don't know what that shift will be. I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory part of conversation, but yeah, we're ripe for a shift. We're already seeing social change, and we're seeing social norms being changed, not only because of the injustices that are going on around the nation, but also the pandemic. I would say that's a good idea. The problem is how do you adjust the gold price around the world? How do you get every nation in the world to agree? Gold free floats for the most part. Now, we're not going to get into manipulation of markets. That's a totally different conversation. But for the most part around the world, gold, silver, commodities, they all float. In other words, it's pretty much supply and demand on a macro scale. You're not going to get everybody in the world to say, okay, gold is now going to be 100 units, whatever that unit may be. And everybody's going to agree, and all right, we're going to set gold at 100 units. Now let's build our currency around that. No, that ain't going to happen. We're not there yet. Not as a species, anyway. We're not that enlightened. We still bicker over who rigged what election. Or if it was rigged. You think we're going to agree on the price of gold? Yeah. And then you've got an issue of countries' economies are different. Yeah, I think about that too. I'm a math teacher. I have a very logical mind. I try to play it out. What if? How feasible is it? Things like that. And I always play the devil's advocate. What's the worst case scenario that could happen? What could cause it to fail? And then I'll try to think about things that I could patch those holes to see, well, if we did this, would it fix that? I've done those logic puzzles a lot in my life, just to see. And the main conclusion I come to is until humanity gets off their butt and decides, we need to relatively be nice to each other and agree on a consensus together as a human species, as long as politics are involved and governments are involved, we will never see that day come. Never see it. So all we can do is, well, for me, I put my faith in God. I do my best to do best for Him. and I let him guide me, and whatever comes may come. What's the old adage? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Well, we're fixing to go into a hullabaloo next year. Our district is considering, well, not considering, they're going to do it. I know that they sent out a letter today, or email. They are considering going dual, where they're going to do in-class teaching and online teaching at the same time, and the students get to choose which direction they want to go, and they both get the same education. So if whatever I'm teaching in the classroom will be taught online. So my first immediate thought was, logistically, how's that going to happen? Am I going to have to teach twice? Well, I teach 7 classes during the day till 3 o'clock, then turn around and go online and teach 7 classes till 10 o'clock? I mean, how's that going to work? The only way I could see it working is if they install streaming cameras and video feeds in every classroom, so that the students can log on and watch what's going on in the class as it happens. That's the only thing I can think they can do. But the problem with that is they'd also have to make sure that everything's recorded, so for students can go back and look at it later if they need to get help and whatnot. But yeah, we're supposed to talk about it in the morning at 10 o'clock. They've emailed and said, everybody, there's a mandatory meeting tomorrow to discuss it. And they said they want us to be frank and they want us to be open about it so that we can look at the pros and cons together. But I learned a long time ago, when the higher-ups say they want to do something, they want your input. They don't want your input. They want your compliance. They want to see if you're going to accept it or not. And if you're openly against it, that can cause you problems later on. At least you lose, at the very least, you lose a little brownie points in their eyes. And when something comes up that you kind of need this or want that, then they're going to have it in the back of their mind, well, you're not as deserving because you didn't want to get on board up front. So I've always taken the approach, throw it at me, I'll do the best I can. If I fail, I fail. If it succeeds, it succeeds. Just tell me what you want me to do. I'll do the best I can. Because that's all I can give you is the best I got. One of these days I'm going to find one of these. Yeah, so far I found in circulated cornroll hunting, I found a Sam W cornroll hunting. It was pretty beat up. No, that one beat up. That's pretty nice. And I found a Lowell, and the Lowell was pretty beat up. Not in the same box, of course, but that's what I found circulated W's so far. The rest of my W's have come from uncirculated boxes. I got lucky right before the shortage happened. One of my branches had gotten in one box of new coins, and they'd already been giving them out, and they had 19 rolls left, and they let me buy all of them, and they were Rivers, and I found 6. I just kept on thinking to myself, well, if I found 6 out of 20, or, I wonder how many there was in the rest. If you average it out, that means there was probably another 12 or so in the other rolls. So that made it out the door. Nobody knows the wiser. But the funny thing is I've got all the tellers now at my banks looking at the quarters as they come in, looking for W's. And I told them what they're worth. I say, you find one, it's worth keeping. And if you don't want it, let me know. So I'm just waiting. One of these days, I'm going to get a call from one of the tellers. Hey, look, we just got these in, blah, blah, blah. They're like, woohoo. I told them if they ever get any silver in, you let me know. I told them anything 1964 and older, dimes, quarters, and halves. If you get any that says 1964 or older. From premium. I buy most of my stuff online because locally, there's only one shop that's local now in my area because I live in the east side of Dallas County, so Mesquite, Garland, all that area. I don't know how well you know. Well, you're in Wisconsin, you probably don't know very well. So the closest I can go into Dallas City, which, I don't like doing that because the traffic is just horrendous in that area. Or I can go out of town, and the closest town next to me is about 10 miles away and up the highway. And they have a shop there, so I've been having to go there. Their premiums are okay. I mean, I haven't bought any bullion from them because I could get it for $1 or $2 cheaper online, so I didn't. But I was able to pick up Franklin's from them for $1.40 a roll. Now, this was before the last spike, of course, but at the time, that was only 50 cents a coin over. See, I paid $7, and I think at the time, melt was like $6.40 and $6.42, $6.43. So I felt that was a fair price, and I paid $1.40. And then right after that, I think it actually was that weekend, the price spiked $1, and those coins jumped from $6.40 melt to about $6.60, $6.70 melt. And they jumped their rolls from the $1.40 they promised me. They honored that price, but they said if I wanted any more, they'd be $1.60. So they jumped because it jumped. So that $1 it went up, they wanted that $1. But that's still, I feel if you can find halves for $8, you're doing okay. 7's better, but 8 is doable, especially if it's a coin you want. Yeah, now online, I find deals all the time where you're paying $3, $4 over spot. And in fact, if you're looking for just straight up silver, now I personally like coins. I like government backed silver. I don't care which government, as long as it's government backed. So if you keep an eye on Provident Metals and JM Bullion, which are the two of the bigger ones. Now there's a bunch out there at Mexico, all the other ones. But if you purchase anything from them, 99 and over, it's free shipping. Now, depending on what your state rules are, whether you pay tax or not. Texas, we don't pay tax on silver. Yeah, if you go straight for the big dog ASEs, Maple Leafs, not so much, but ASE's the big dog. The premiums are still $6, $7 over spot. I mean, I can't find, in fact, more than that, I can't find ASEs online for under 25. When silver's sitting at what, 17.50, 18, somewhere in that range. I can't find them cheaper than 25. So I'm not going to pay the $7, $8 premium. When the only reason I was willing to pay such a high premium when the bottom dropped out of silver a few months ago is because I recognized that was paper price and not physical price, and nobody in their right mind would sell silver for less than 20. Anyway, 20 was pretty much the given. That's just what people decided on, just the nod and wink decision, just decide, here's the floor, let's not go below it type thing. And when it dropped to $11, $12 an ounce on paper, I wouldn't let my silver go for no $12. Yeah, it'd be crazy. And because silver dropped, there was a run on silver, people thinking they can get it cheap. And at the time, you could find it for 15, 16 an ounce because when it got to 14 and change one time, I was paying 16 and change. I bought several rolls at the beginning of the year, even where I paid $16.12 for one of them. I bought a roll for $16.12 an ounce, so it was nothing to pay $16, $17. And when it spiked, I found on Provident, Niue is a country, an island country over near Australia, and the New Zealand and Perth Mint meant a lot of the coinage for those island nations. And Niue is one of the major island nations out there. And I managed to get a roll of the Athenan Owls that they made for, I think I paid $17 when the bottom dropped out. and that was $5 over spot at the time. And now you can go on there. In fact, last week they did a sale on them, and you were paying $20.19. I think it was $3.99 a coin. Now that silver's up a little, it's probably just whatever. It's still close to 21, I think is what it is for the ounces. 19, that's a great price for ASEs. Yeah. A lot of people want to say premiums went higher. I look at it more of people decided not to sell for lower than a certain amount. Because if you noticed, when silver dropped, you couldn't find it was still around $20 an ounce. Now that silver's come back up, you can still find silver for around $20 an ounce. So, did the premiums go up, or did people decide not to sell for below 20? It's a matter of perspective, but it boils out to the same in the end. But that's what it is. Is now when I find deals for every week they put something on sale. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Every week they put something on sale on Provident and JM Bullion. They are both. JM owns both companies now, so it's both JM Bullion technically. But what they did is they bought controlling interest in it, but let the business run as is. So they still have two different websites. The websites look similar in appearance, but they put different things on sale. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago they did the owls. One deal I got from Provident a couple of weeks ago, I actually put up a video about it, was they put the 5-ounce quarter SAMs on. If you used check or ECH or something like that, for it was $120. Now that's 24 an ounce. But it's one of the 5-ounce coins. So I thought that was worth it, $120. Now, like I said, depending on if you have to pay tax in your area or not, that makes a difference. But Texas, we don't pay tax. And hey, Southern Metals, how you doing? We're just talking about best places to find silver right now. But yeah, I picked up a 5-ounce San Antonio Missions for $120 shipped, because they do anything 99 above gets shipped for free. So that's a big savings, because some of those companies, Atmex, Kitco, they charge shipping. And now it could be $8, $10, $12, but when you're talking about trying to get the best price for your silver, that $8, $10, $12 could add $1 or more to your cost average. And that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to find the best value. Yeah, let me see if I can look real quick on Provident. I think I have them up. Yeah, there they are. I keep theirs up because they always do deals. Right now, their best deals, they've got the 1-ounce St. Gaudens round from Silvertown for as low as $26.65. That it's any quantity, so you can buy one at that price. $20.65 using cash or check. $21.51 for credit card and PayPal, and it's any quantity. And if you buy, like I said, if you buy $100, 99 or more, you get them for you get free shipping. Yeah, that's not bad. 13 face. Now, is that for any denomination, or is that just like dimes and quarters? Because a lot of times when it comes to halves and dollars, they don't give you 13 face. They don't sell for 13 face. Any 90? Wow. Yeah, if you can find half dollar, 90% half dollars for $130 a roll, that's insanely cheap. Especially right now with the price going up like it is. You can get 1 ounce for $2 a spot at your local. Yeah. Yes, it does. I've actually put feelers out before. I checked pawn shops. I actually did a thing where I found some gold for a decent price at a pawn shop. Now, silver, my pawn shops around here aren't getting silver much. And a lot of times, you have to negotiate with the pawn shop because they're putting double what it's worth on there just to see if somebody will walk in and pay it. Yeah, I bought 2 5-gram gold bars from my pawn shop, and they charged me $2.97. And at the time, spot was $2.87. So I paid $10 over melt for those bars. So I thought that was worth it. First actual piece of gold I'd bought in a while, let me tell you. The last piece of gold I bought some 1/10 ounce coins, War in the Pacific and Battle for something, and I paid $140 for them. But that was back when gold was sitting at like 1,300. So you'd be surprised though. $10. Have you been in any of the auctions lately here on YouTube? $10 is becoming the norm for halves. It's weird, but $10 are becoming the norm for halves. Oh, cool, third one. These are kind of hard to get. They're the Hawaiian Volcano 2012 ATBs. Let's see if I can show you here because I got that zoomed in too close. No, I'm going to have to zoom it out. For some reason, Silver Nitrate turned me on to them because they were just he couldn't find them. They're the Hawaiian Volcano 2012s. And they, I find 1 or 2 a box at most. Auctions on here can go high. I've seen people do crazy prices. The first thing I do is when they put their auction list out, I figure out what I'm interested in, and then I go on websites and eBay and stuff and see what I can actually buy it for. And if I can get it cheaper than that, and I'm willing to pay it, then I'll go ahead and do it. And I found some decent deals. I've gotten some slab coins because I've started collecting slab DSEs. I don't know how I started, but I've got like 15 of them now, different dates. And I noticed that most slab coins, MS69s, are sitting at 40-ish. And I've been able to pay low 30s for them on auction. So, saving a little. One time, Silver Nitrate had rolls of dimes, Rosies. Hey, Robert, how you doing? And I managed to get a roll of Rosies from him for 70, which is, basically 140. Like if I'd have bought a half. So I thought that was a pretty decent deal. And if you look, you're not going to find them. You're not going to find much better if you go somewhere else. The problem with YouTube auctions is you only have 20 or 30 people at most bidding. And when that happens, you wind up with people getting bidding wars. And I don't think they think, they just want. That's not bad. 24 for 66. Yeah, the lowest I've got are 68s, and that's because those are the ones I've gotten through donation giveaways with Big Flip when he was doing his slabs. Yeah, you're getting it for the cost of the coin at that point, which is a good deal. Yeah, I'd pick up 66s for the cost of a coin. Yeah, what I mainly do on YouTube now is I'll do corn roll hunting with Big Flip and EVG sometimes, and Silver Nitrate I do his auctions sometimes. I don't really swerve or stray too far from those guys. I started with EVG. He was the first guy I ever saw. He's the one that got me started in constitutional collecting side of my silver habit. From him, I slid over to Rob for a while. I didn't really spend any money with him, but I watched him. From there, I moved to Big Flip briefly, and then Big Flip turned me on to CHC. I ran with them for a while until they moved to. In fact, I was still purchasing from them up until they lost PayPal, a couple of months ago. and now I don't go with them because I don't do Google Pay myself. But I see why they let. I mean, I see why I wouldn't want to go back to PayPal after what I've read about them. But anyway, but then I went back to Big Flip, and I've stayed with him pretty predominantly since then. I check out other auctions occasionally, like Big T. I've gotten some decent deals for auction, and his games that he plays, I've actually won some decent stuff from him playing his games. Recently, I won a MS69 Philadelphia Emergency 2020 ASE. I paid $10 for the coin because he does the penny game where you pay $10 for a penny, and then if your number comes up, you win. And I won. So I got that coming in the mail. Before, I've won a MS70 Red Label NGC ASE from him before for $5, I think. So, well, I've spent money where I haven't won us also, but you know, sometimes you just get lucky. As far as purchasing things, I haven't really purchased much with his auctions because, like you stated, they get crazy sometimes in the pricing. I have not seen your stream, Southern. When do you stream? I don't, like I said, I don't go to a lot of people's streams. I primarily stick with Big Flip. He's my go-to. I'll watch other people's streams occasionally. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7. What time zone is that? Oh, you said ET. Sorry. Duh. Yeah, I didn't know your streaming times. Yeah, I'll check you out. I probably can't do it Thursday because I have a church group I go to on Thursday nights, a Zoom that we do. It's a study we do. Next Tuesday though, I'll definitely check you out. Yeah, Thursday nights I probably check a little bit. From Thursdays from 7 to about 9, I have a study group, and then so that's why I usually hit up EVG later on at night on Thursdays when he does his. I can do it over the summertime because I'm a teacher. Wow. I haven't gotten into nickels. I've done a few rolls because that's all they'd give me. So I've opened a few. I found a couple of 2009s, a couple of 2005s. Like there's one of the 2005s. I found a really nice looking 2016 out of the couple of rolls I had. Here's a 2005. 2005. Thought I had more than that. I didn't find anything old. There's a 2019 that was really nice condition. So I found one 2009, which I assume people were saying was pretty hard to get. So I know what to look for, sort of. I just, finding it's a different story. But yeah, I just decided since one of my managers graced me with this box, I would stream it opening just because a lot of people aren't even getting to see boxes being open. People are still getting halves, but when it comes to quarters and such, you just don't see people with them. As you can see, I've been rolling them as I go because my manager, nice lady, she was hesitant at first. She said, look, she knows I corn roll hunt. She goes, look, I've got almost 2 boxes. I've got $900 in quarters. I got one sealed box. I will let you have the box if you promise to bring them back. That's how she worded it. So I told her I would roll them up and bring them back. And I said, I've actually got some other coins at the house too. I've got a change jar. And I will roll, if you give me some rolls, I will roll them up and bring them back for you also that way. Because she told me that the Wells Fargo that they get their coinage from has stopped shipping. So at this point, whatever coins they have in their possession is all they have. And that's because Wells Fargo, the shortage is caused by logistics, and they can't keep up with demand because they don't have the manpower to man the machines to roll the coins. So they're probably sitting on bags upon bags upon bags of mixed coinage that they can't do anything with, because how are they supposed to sort it and get it ready and ship back out when they ain't got the manpower to do it, nor the manpower to drive it around and all that. So this pandemic is causing this backup because of logistics. And then they announced to everybody that there's a shortage. And what's human nature when you hear shortage? When you hear usually when humans hear shortage, they think, I need to hoard to protect myself. So if you hear, hey, there's a toilet paper shortage, when this pandemic started, what did people start doing? Buying roomfuls of toilet paper. So when there's a coin shortage going on, what are people going to do with their coins? They're not going to be too apt to get rid of them. Let's see. Do you find many silver quarters? The first quarter box that I ever opened at the beginning of this year, I found 1 silver in it. I have yet to find silver since then. Now, I've been lucky and found not a full box yet, but I've got a half a box one time of Rivers, and I got 19 rolls of Rivers one time and found W's. And I've been pretty decent on the W's. I think I wound up with, out of across the gambit, I've got 1 set, and I've only got 5 or 6 Rivers left. I made a deal with a guy because he's putting sets together. I've probably about 2 dozen W's total is what I found. As far as silver, though, the only silver I've ever found is out of halves. And I've managed to find about a half a dozen 40s out of a dozen boxes. And it comes in spurts. And one box I found a proof silver. It was a 2002, I believe, silver proof, 90% silver proof. You could tell that one because you're looking at all this copper, and all of a sudden you see this white. I mean, it wasn't just dull either. It was like somebody put a snowflake in the middle of the coins. It was that white, that bright. So I knew exactly what I had then. And then this last 2 boxes I got before the shortage happened, I knew something was up because when I got the boxes from the bank, there was so much dust on top of the boxes that you could write your name in it. So I knew they had come out of the warehouse. It wasn't something that had just been rolled recently. It had been sitting in the warehouse for a while. And I managed to find 5 silvers out of that. I got the trifecta, a Franklin, a Walker, and a Kennedy 90%, and 2 other 40%ers out of those boxes. So, and that's the only other silver I've ever found. Now, errors, varieties, I find those all the time. But when it comes to actual value, metal, that's it. Oh, for those that collect dimes, today I got one of my branches gave me a roll of quarters, a roll of dimes, and a roll of nickels, and 2 pennies, and that's all they'd give me. Well, the pennies were 20/20, so I didn't even bother opening them and just threw them in the safe. And the quarters had nothing, the nickels had nothing. But the dimes, I opened them and then realized they were 20/20s, and I shouldn't have opened them because I wasn't going to find anything. So I like, well, they're open now. I need to figure out if they're even worth hunting. And so I looked online, found a Reddit post talking about some kind of die gash or strike through. I can't remember the words they used. Those are some of the words they used. And they were showing pictures of it. And so I started looking at the ones, and I found 10 of them that looked that way. And let's see if I can zoom it in. See if you can see it. There you go. See how it goes from his hair down through his behind his down the neck, from the hair down the neck. Yeah. That's the 2020 Ds. And focus the scope. Here, let me do this. See if this helps. Is that better? Hey, Greg. How you doing? I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Yeah, I found 10 of those in that roll of 50. So I thought it was pretty neat. Now now according to what they say, it's some kind of die clash, and if you look at right here at the top where his hair is, starting there, and you follow down, you'll see that line. Okay, that's not supposed to be there. And it goes all the way down. Now, the 10 that I have are at varying degrees of depth. In other words, this one is the most pronounced. It's deep. You can actually see it pretty deep, and if you turn it, I mean, the light hits it, but you can still see it. I mean, you can tell it's there. I just turned it to where it gave you the best, view. Maybe that was a better view, but anyway. Some of them are so light, though, that it looks like a scratch, and you have to hit the light just right to see the line. But it's the same exact line, so you know it's not something that's just a scratch. That's the 2020D, Denver. I'm in Texas. That's what we get. And I found 10 of them of varying degrees of depth. And I looked on Reddit where I first found out about it. They called it a die clash or a strike through. So I went on eBay and typed those names in, and it popped it up where people have pictures of them, and with little arrows drawn on the picture showing you where it is. And some of them have got some pretty deep ones like this one, and they're only doing $2-3 a coin plus shipping. But I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. However, we're talking about a dime here. You find this in your pocket change, you just turned a dime into $2. That's 20 times your money. So you find a bunch of them, it can add up. I found 10 in one roll. I mean, if you get a roll of 2020 Denvers, it may be worth popping open just to see if you have them. All right, good night, Southern. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, doing good, Greg. Just hanging out, going through this box that I was blessed today with. So my manager said she'll let me open the box as long as I bring the coins back, because they're no longer receiving coins from their distributors at the time, because we all know that the logistics is backing the coinage up and nobody's getting them because they can't roll them fast enough. So, but yeah, that's the dime that I found today. I thought it's pretty neat. Out of 50 of them, I found 10. I did a video on it and posted it, asking questions if anybody knew anything about it, because I didn't. I just knew what I read on Reddit and what I saw on eBay. Yeah, I've known her for a few years. She was at the branch that I bank at a lot, and they moved her over, and she became the assistant branch manager at this new branch. It just happens to be the branch that's in the Kroger, where I get my medicine from the pharmacy there. So when I saw her at the branch, like, what are you doing over here? And they said they moved her over there so she could become assistant branch manager. I was like, well, that's awesome. I congratulate her for the promotion. And I went in today to get my medicine and asked her if I knew that this shortage was going on, but it's like, can I have Yeah, that one was pretty pronounced, Silver. I asked her, can I have any rolls of quarters? Because I knew that they wouldn't give out much, but I was hoping she might. She looked up. I was with another teller. She looked over at the teller and she goes, how many do you want? I said, as many as you can give me. And she said, well, I've got 900 in quarters right now, and we're not getting any more. I went, oh, okay, I understand. She goes, however, I have a sealed box. I'll let you have it if you bring them back. So, okay. So this one box has taken me 4 hours to go through because I'm rolling them and talking. This is part 2 of the live stream, because after about an hour and a half it decided to buffer out on me and I had to restart it. But yeah, it's taken me about 4 hours to go through this. 19 to 11. Yeah, I started at 9, so yeah, it's been almost 4 hours. 9 my time. I'm here in Texas Central Time, so it's 9 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock now. Ooh, 1 o'clock. Ooh. I'm glad I have nothing to do tomorrow. Till 10 anyway. Yeah, I honestly didn't. I didn't expect it. It totally threw me off guard. She goes, "I won't do it for anybody else." Like, okay. But she knows what I do. I brought them donuts before at the other branch, and yeah, I needed something to. All I ever did was quarters and halves, and when all that they started cutting us back and not letting us get anything, I was taking anything they'd give me. That's why I was like, just give me one of every denomination so I can just hunt something. I need to hunt. I need to scratch that itch. I need to feed that habit. And okay, that box is done. I still got 2 rolls to go. Okay, that's good. It's working out. Looks like we're going to wind up with about a roll's worth of oddities. All right, here's the oddities. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I didn't switch back the screen. Yeah, all this over here is stuff I found that I pulled out to keep, or to at least get a better look at. Most of it is 2009 quarters, because you don't see a lot of them. And this box had half a roll of them, which is unusual. Usually I only get 2 or 3 a box. But this box has been real good for them. No W's. I've had luck. I've found 2 circulated W's since I've been doing this. How's the weather down here? Hot. It's been sitting in the 90s. And it's been humid because we've been getting scattered showers, which make it feel like it's like you're walking on the surface of the sun. Hot. Wet heat is so much hotter than dry heat, because with dry heat you sweat, the sweat burns off, cools you down. Wet heat, you sweat and you just become a mop. Yeah, that is a lot of 9s. I was shocked. Like I said, I usually only get 2 to 3 a box on the 09s. If I'm real lucky, I wind up getting a set of 9s. Yep, very humid and hot. That's why I don't get out much. Well, pandemics had a lot to do with that, but I normally don't get out much. I'm not. I'm the guy that if he had the choice to play sports or play video games, I'm turning the TV on. I've always been a gamer. I've never been much into sports. Now, I've watched sports. I've collected sports cards, but I've never really been one to play sports. Oh, here's something for those that do nickels. Is this worth holding on to? Because it looked like it was pretty good condition. I think that's good. It's a 64. It's the oldest one I found so far. And it just looked like it had a lot of luster to it. And I just didn't know if it was something worth holding on. Just throw it back into the bucket. Yeah, I didn't find anything older than that, but that's the only 60 I found. Everything else was 80s and above, pretty much. Last roll of the box. Last roll of the box. Come on, silver. Yeah. That'd be funny. I found the other one. The last roll is on the ender too. Didn't even know it. I didn't know what an ender would look like. There could be any silver in there. Okay. Anyway, like I said, I didn't know if that was worth keeping or anything. So it just looked really nice condition for the age. It's weird. I haven't found any Connecticut's that. Yeah, it's a smudge of something. And that's all she wrote. Get this one rolled up, and the quarters are done. That was a longer on process, but it was enjoyable. Where else can you get 4 hours of entertainment for the cheap? It's practically free. That's another thing I like about corn roll hunting is you get hours of entertainment and it don't cost you anything because you get to get your money back at the end. Errors, I think so far I found 3. I think so. Yeah, 3 errors is what I think I found. I'll show you here in a second. Let me get this roll finished up. Yep. As time goes on, you start looking at cost and value differently. And like, for a long time I did gold panning, kitchen panning, where you purchase dirt on the internet and get it home and sort through it at home. And they're always like, "Why do you do that? You're losing money." And it's like, if you look at the cost of the dirt to how much gold you get, yeah, you're not getting 100% return. If you're real good, you get 80% return or so. That's a pretty good price. But I say, do you have any Wisconsin quarters tonight? I honestly do not know. I mean, I might have found some. Is there a special about them, or? That's one of my think. I'm not sure. Spitting Horse, but I look at entertainment dollars also. What you value an hour of entertainment time. And to me, if you get entertainment for $10 an hour, you're doing pretty good, because most movies are a $20 ticket now, and if you just go fly out and buy it, and you're gonna get a 2-hour movie for $20. So if you can get entertainment, something that entertains you for $10 an hour, that's the way I see it. Then I'm satisfied with that. And when it comes to gold panning, I get a couple of 3 hours going through dirt, getting the gold out. So I figure that into the cost. and it actually winds up coming out to where I'm actually doing okay. I don't mind taking loss because I'm getting my entertainment out of it. All right, I found this horse. We when we first looked at it, let's see if I can get it zoomed in a little better. We wasn't sure because if you turn it a certain way, it kind of looks like there may be something there. Let me get a bigger screen. You can get it clear. There we go. When we started turning it, you started seeing something coming out of his mouth a little bit, but we wasn't sure. Like right there, you see that little mark there? It may just be a scratch, but I wasn't sure. So I held it out just in case. See that little mark right there? It just seemed like it was coming out the right. So that's the only one that looked like a spitting horse. I don't have one personally. I've never seen one personally. I've seen pictures of close-ups that look all nice and professional looking done, so you can see the die crack running from the mouth through the A, all nice and neat. So I have no idea. But that's the spitting horse that may or may not have found. Oh, the cornstalk. Oh, Wisconsin. Yeah, I'll probably a dozen cornstalks tonight, but no high leaf, low leaf, no. The other one that's potential is this one here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me get when you hit the light just right, there's a decent picture. If you look right here, that spot right there is not a discoloration of the metal, and it's not a scratch. It looks like that it's actually just a little bit shadow of extra layer of metal above that roof. So I'm thinking that may be a snow on the roof. So that one there might be a snow on the roof. I don't know. I have not seen one of those in person either. Now this one here, I'm almost positive is an error. If you look at the initials, because that's one of the errors, is the initials covered up. It looks like it's partially covered with this right here. That looks like the first initials partially covered. So I'm thinking that is a what do they call it, extra leaf, cactus leaf or something like that. Now I've got some that are a lot more pronounced than this. In fact, let me get my book out and I'll show you some of the goodies I have found cornrow hunting. I gotta pull it out of my safe without taking everything else with it. Okay. Let's see. Let's get back to main screen. Actually, let's do webcam full for now. Alright. This is my binder that I keep all my goodies in. Everything in here was cornrow hunted from me. This first page was cornrow hunted. These are the NIFC S quarters that they came out with. Most of these are 2018s, a couple of 2017s. These are all 2018s. These are 2017s. I did find a 2000S Massachusetts. That has to be a proof. I mean, I don't think they did the NIFCs back then. But I did find that S. These here are the 2017s are the Frederick Douglass NIFCs. I found 3 Voyagers 2018s. It's the one with the duck on the water. And then I found, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I found 9 of the Apostle Islands 2018 S's. I found those in I got a box, and they were all in the same box. And somebody told me then that those, from 2012 on, they started making NIFC S's, and you could order them from the mint in bags, and these just made it out. Now, of course, the Massachusetts is an actual proof, because they didn't do that back then. And then the next page here is my W's that I found, cornrow hunting. All of them are BU except 3. Well, not all these are cornrow. A couple of them I got from other people, but for the most part, like I think this Lowell here was the last one I found, and it was circulated, and it's got funk and gunk on it, but it was a let's see, you're not seeing everything. So, this one here, it's a Lowell that I found. It's got junk all over it. I mean, it looks like there's discoloration and spots, and it's circulated. It's been through it, but it's a W, so of course I pulled it out. These are San Antonios. This is an AMP that I got from somebody, and I think it was a Maximus Silver Stackers. During his cornrow hunt, I managed to get that. This is my one set. These are all brand uncirculated. So that's my one set. I've got. These are River No Returns. I had 11 of them, but a guy wanted 5 of them, and so I made a deal with him. And those were all brand uncirculated, and they've all from CRH. The oldest one I got was last November. I found 3 during a CRH in December 8th. Another one on the 13th of December. Then I found this one on the 7th of this month. And then the other ones I found... No, I found all 6 of them at one time on the 7th of that month. So these are the different errors I found so far. Now, Arizona Extra Leafs, I've actually found 4 of them, and they are very prominent. You can see very prominent the leaves. This is the last one I found, I think. Yeah, you can see it's partially covering the J, just like the other one was. And, you know, I think they're all pretty much in the same... This is the first coin that I thought was... I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a broad strike at first, because if you look at it, it's all faded and wore down on the front. I mean, it's all just wore flat. And then the back, if you look around the edge, it is all just wore down around the edge. I didn't know what it was, because it was so wore down. It's almost concave. And I thought it was a major error. Somebody said it's a dryer coin, though, and I asked what that was. And that's when a quarter gets stuck in between the wall of the dryer and the well of the dryer as it's spinning, and it just starts rubbing the edges and chiseling it down. So I kept it because it was cool looking. This is one of my nicer ones that I really like. Let me see if I can bring this up for you. This is one of the Connecticut coins. And if you look on this side, how the Connecticut is almost butted up against the edge there. And if you look at this side, you have a lot of extra space, almost to the point where it looks like you've got a divot going around the edge. See that divot there? And then as you get closer to the edge on this side, it just disappears. Yeah, that was the most prominent one. I found 4 of these so far, but this is the one that's the most prominent. The one that it is, you could almost put a fingernail in between the wall and the face of the coin. Now, I believe these are called broad strikes. I'm not sure. I just know that Connecticut coins, the Connecticut P's, are infamous for this. And I have seen online where it's gotten worse than this. I've seen them where it's almost quarter-inch separation. It's because of what happened. Let's see. Now, really nice, interesting ones. I've got 3 in God We Rust, but my favorite one of those here. If you get off over here, you see the G, R, and T. But if you get up in the light a certain way, like right there, you'll notice that the G and the T and the R are almost gone. And if you look at the coin straight down, you can barely see them. And the D looks like it's trying to go too. I call it the In Odd We Ust coin, because it was hammered by grease. I mean, it got the brunt of it. So that's one of my more favorite quarters I found hunting, that In Odd We Ust. I thought that was pretty neat. And I found 3 so far of In God We Rust, where the R is gone. But that's the one that really is I like the best. Pretty much that's all. I got some tail cuds and die cud stuff that's here and there that's not, I don't know, maybe or maybe not. Oh, there's the silver proof I found that stood out like a white lightning when I opened the roll. 2002S silver proof. And if you look on the edge, you would see it is now it's got nicks and dings, but it's silver. It's proof. And I found 2 just clad proofs, 2003s. I've managed to find, let me get it out, one interesting commemorative. I found this 1994 soccer commemorative, and it is a World Cup USA 94 commemorative half that they made. I found that in the same box as I found that 90%er proof. But this is a commemorative. They made 2 different versions, and this is the, I think it says D, yeah, or let me see. It's the P version. They made a P and a D. The P's were I think they were the circulated, and the D's were the proofs at the time. But yeah, that was a nice little coin to find. The only other thing I have that I've held on to that I thought was interesting was I found this, it's a 79D. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it or not see it, but it's a no FG. And I've turned it and turned it and turned it. Every now and then you might get a nice hint of what might be an FG. Maybe, maybe not. But for the most part, no matter how you turn it and how the light hits it, I haven't been able to see an FG stand out. So I called it a no FG. Looks like there might be something there, but I don't know. Good night, Greg. Have a good one. And then the final ones that Rob is always looking for. Get down closer. Is 74D. So you know what we're looking for on these, right? Some of them you can't, it's hard to tell. But what always got me to looking for it, I don't know if I can get in closer or not. Come on, clear up. I always tell about the 74 DDO. I look at the R, and I look at the right leg of the R, the extending leg. And the extending leg of the R right here always looks like it's got a line through it when it's doubled, like it's, you know, because it's stacked on top of each other. It was a 79 no FG, 79. So when I look at the R there, it has that line through it like it's, you know, 2 legs stuck together. And that's why I thought this might be a DDO. I've actually found 3 like that so far. That one is kind of crusty, so it's harder to see. But this one here, well, let me turn it. Once you start turning it, you start seeing like that there. I think you can see. Yeah, you see the streak along the line of the R? That streak right in between, in the middle of it? That's the clue I look for to see if it's a DDO or not. Double dive versus F101 or something like that, I think is what it's called. And if you go on a PCGS and you look at the R there, you'll definitely see that line going down the middle of the leg. But I found 3. The first one was crusty. I wasn't quite sure. That one looked pretty pronounced. And then the final one here, get it out, is about the same quality as the second one. And if you start, yeah, you can see the line through the R, the leg of the R, to see it's a DDO. That's how I'm able to tell, because if you look at most other halves, it's just a little thin stick for that leg. But that one there looks thicker, and it looks like it's doubled because it's got that line. Looks like it's two legs stacked on top of each other. So, but that's my CRH collection so far. Every time I find something new, I add to it. Like the coins I found today, I'll add to it. I'll definitely put those dimes in here. I don't have anything else in here. I keep I got this in a deal one time. It's a 63, still in the mint baggie. I thought that's pretty nice. And then everything else I keep in this back to main screen here, or full width. That's better. Only thing else I keep in this book is back here. I keep star notes. If I find a star note, I pull it out. Or if I find interesting numbers, I pull them out. Like this is 004 04 0488. So it's 3 numbers. This star note here is 0063548, which is a pretty low number, I think. This one here is 55155611. So it's only one number off of being a binary. Then I've got a couple of $5. $5 interesting numbers like 045, 05, 055. So it's one number off. And this one here is 7777 204 47. Had 5 sevens in it. $10 ones I found 2 star notes. The numbers aren't that fancy, but they're star notes. An 03 series and 13 series. I do not. I kind of know what to look for on web dollars. I know they're from the 80s, but I don't have any web dollars. I'm not much of a currency person. I don't collect paper. Only reason I've got this is because this is what I find in my change. If I see a star note, I pull it out. I look at the numbers. If they're interesting, I pull them out. Other than that, I don't go hunting for them. These are $20 star notes. I've got 4 of those. Nothing really stands out in terms of the numbers. And when I look on the star note lookup site, none of them are rare. And then these are the... Oh, here's a couple. I have 6, I'm sorry. And then these are the fancy number 20s. This one has 5 sevens in it. This one is all single numbers, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So it's one off from being a full sequence. This one, same thing. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's missing the 5 from being the This one has 5 8s, 7, 0, 0, 8s. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then finally, I found 150 that was interesting. It's 80 81 8818. So it's, if that would have been a 1, it'd have been a binary. It's just got 1 0 in it. So I thought that was an interesting note. So I kept it too. Other than that, that's what I've collected. All my silver though is too much to pull out. So I will show you. Yeah, I'll show you these. I paid. Found this on eBay for $120. Shipped. So I had to do that. Actually, it was $117 shipped. I liked the bat. I thought it was just beautiful design, so I had to get one of those. Found this on Provident Metals. They ran a special. They ran a special on these 1 week, their deal of the week, and they sold it at the time. They said $2.99 over spot, I think is what it was. Or no, is that what they said? Anyway, I think it's what they said. It wound up being $120.17 shipped. Now here in Texas, we don't pay tax on bullion, and anything over $99 they ship for free. It's the 5 ounce. Yeah, these are the 5 ounces. It's got the along the edge it says $9.99 fine silver 5.0 ounce. Yeah. So this one I got from Provident for $120 shipped. So thought that was, I figure 120 is not bad for these since 5 ounces silver and all. And then I got this one from EVG. I donated to his stream, and this was the donator giveaway, and I won it, 5 ounce. It's the 2020 Salt River Bay. Yeah, if you're looking for decent deals, Provident Metals and JM Bullion, they're same company now technically. JM bought controlling interest in Provident. Their prices normally are about the same as anybody else, comparatively speaking. They're relatively in the same range, but they do weekly specials all the time, and their weekly specials, you can find some deals. If you're into I call them government coins. That means governments of the world, not just ASCs or Maples. You can find from them a lot of times you'll get the coins from the island nations near Australia and New Zealand, and they'll sell those $2-3 over spot. And before the crash of the silver paper price, when silver was down to like $14.50 an ounce, I was paying $2 over spot. I was getting rolls of ounces from them for $16.50, $16.60 an ounce. And after the crash came back and the premiums either skyrocketed or people refused to sell for less than 20. Either way you want to look at it. You could still find, now that it's back to 17 something an ounce, the last special they run was the 2019 Newies, or 2020 Newies, which is a island nation that the Perth, New Zealand Mint manufactured. It's the Athenan Owl. I may have one laying around. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah. Anyway, it's the 2020. Try to get it from glaring. 2020 Nui, 1 ounce coin, or I guess you'd call this. No, it's $2 for them, so it is a coin. That's how I learned the difference between a coin and a round. Coins actually have a monetary value stamped on them. It's the Athenan Owl. They've done this design many years, like 2016 when they started. And it's the same design every year, but they just changed the date. And they sold, I got these for, at the time, this roll, I paid $17. Last time they put them on sale, you could buy them for $20 and change. Now that's the check price, cash price, if you live in a state with no tax price. If you bought 99 plus of them, which I think at that time would be 6 coins, you get them for 21 straight up. Especially if you did an e-check or something, which is what I did. I just gave them my bank information and just have them pull it out of my bank, and I don't get charged that 4% premium, because if you do PayPal or credit card, they charge you that 4% premium to cover that cost. Yeah, they put those on sale. I got those. The last big sale I got from them that I thought was a great deal, because of what it was, is the, I don't know if you can read that. It says Mickey the True Original 90 Years of Imagination. 1 ounce silver coins, 25 coins in a roll. It's still factory seals. I didn't even open it. It's from the New Zealand Mint. Endorsed by Disney, of course. And they put these on. I paid $19 a coin. They put them on for $1.99 over spot. I think is what it was. Any quantity, $1.99 over spot. So if you're looking for deals, I think they put their new deals out every Monday, and check and see what they offer. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you see something that's great, sometimes you don't. But if you have the means and the opportunity arises, check them out. You'll find deals all the time. You'll find deals. Yeah, my my portfolio, I've got mine's probably only about 10% ASE, and that's because I've got so many ounces in other stuff. Like if it comes to foreign, if you let's break it down into island nations, European nations, and then rounds. I would have to say that between island nations and European nations and rounds, that is 75% of my coin. Well, not including constitutional money, of course, just in bullion. I'd say that's about 65% of mine is split between island nation and European. Then the other 40% ish is between rounds, maples, and ASEs. And I didn't do rounds for a long time until I started getting them in donation giveaways and stuff. And I just started picking them up then. I don't go out and actively purchase them because I prefer government issue. But, yeah, it's gotten to the point now where, my constitutional has really skyrocketed. I got a spreadsheet. Let me see where I have it. My constitutional is sitting at, ouch. Of my overall weight, when it comes to overall weight, constitutional is about a third of my weight now. I didn't realize that. Yeah, constitutional is about a third of my weight now. And that's because I've been collecting heavy. I fell in love with it. Benjamin Franklin halves are my absolute favorite when it comes to halves. When it comes to coins, it's Franklin's and Merc Dimes. Those are my two favorites. Franklin's and Merc Dimes for constitutional. And I went heavy into Franklin's, trying to put a set together. I need 5 coins to finish. And I've got all but one of the key dates. So... And the key date I'm missing, I think, is a 48. I think that's what it is. I don't think I'm missing. No, I'm missing a 49. All I'm missing is the 49, 53S, 56, 58, and 60. Philadelphia's. And I'll have my first set of Franklin's done. Now, I said earlier in the stream, I had the closest coin shop to me, low LCS, is about 10 miles up the highway. And right before the last big jump of silver, where it went from like 16 to 17.50 an ounce in like 2 days, I had put in an order with them. It was like Thursday. I went in and talked to them, and I told them I wanted constitutional, and they said, well, they were getting something in over the weekend. They'll have it ready Monday. And I said, well, what would you charge me? And they said, what do you want to pay? And I said, look, I'm just going to go straight up. So look, I'm comfortable at $6.50 to $7 an ounce. So if you can get them to me at no more than $7 an ounce for Franklin's, I'll buy all you got. And they're like, okay, well, we're getting about $400 face value in assorted constitutional in over the weekend. We'll have them. We will have them for you Monday, sorted out. I said, well, I want Franklin's and Mercury Dimes. They didn't get any Mercury Dimes in, but they got in 8 rolls of Franklin's. And over the weekend, they jumped up to $17.50 an ounce, which put them to $16.70 something a coin at the time, or $16.40 something. Anyway, it was like it took it from being $1 over per coin to like 50 cents over per coin. But they honored the price. They said they'd let me have them for $1.40 a pop. So I guess they still had enough play in there that they were still making money. But yeah, I wiped out my cash reserves that day. And I picked up almost 8 rolls. Went through them and managed to put this book together. 50... Did you have the... No, I need 49 Philly, a 53S, 56, 58, and 60 Philly. And I'll have my first set done. I got these books, the Dansko books from them for $10 a piece used. And I had a used Whitman And I liked the Whitman because I liked the blue, and it did the same thing. But one thing I noticed about Whitman, this is an old book, is it's stapled and it comes loose. And it's rusting and stuff like that. So I was like, I wanted to find a better Whitman. And then he brought this Dansko out, and these things are riveted. You actually take and you unscrew the rivet to add pages. So it's lot more well done than a Whitman is. If you're going to collect and you need a good binder, go with Dansko. Because all their Danskos are riveted. And so it's a lot sturdier design. But yeah, and it puts all the dates and key dates. I think these in parentheses are the mintages of the proofs at the time, because the 1950 only shows 51,000. I know that's like a couple $100 coin. So I'm thinking that means these are the proof ones in parentheses. Yeah. I went in there and he had a brand new Merkdime Dansko. And he charged me $30. And I knew that I wouldn't find it for any cheaper than that. I mean, I might have found it as cheap, but not cheaper. And so I bought the Merkdime straight up for $30. And I said, well, do you have any other ones? Because I'm collecting Franklin's. Do you have any Franklins? He said, yeah, I got a couple of them. He had 3 of them. So I bought all of them for $10 a piece. And so what I decided to do is my main one right here, I left the brads alone, and then the other ones I just put a little dab of Sharpie on the ends to tell me which one they are. So this is my number 1 binder with the best coins, and then this is my number 2 with my second best set I'm putting together, and I'm putting a third set. So I'm not actively pursuing them, but if I get a collection of coins in, I always check this one and that one and that one to see if I can upgrade or fill in. So yeah, Franklin's are my absolute favorite. Merkdimes, I love Merkdimes. Now I'll probably never get a set of Merkdimes because I didn't realize how many Merkdimes there were. There's like 70 Merkdimes. I'm like, I'll never get this thing filled. Never get it filled. So. Oh, and then in the course of coin roll hunting, I found NIFCs. I don't know what to do with them because I think they're worth more than 50 cents, but nobody wants them. So, so out of 14 boxes, I found probably 60-ish, 70-ish NIFCs. I pulled one of each out, so I'm just starting a collection to get the collection of NIFCs. Yeah, but that's me. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, 35 coins is pretty manageable for a set of coins. And when it comes to difficulty of finding, the most expensive ones, at least in circulated condition, and if you're trying to go for perfect, it gets expensive. But if you're just wanting a filler, the 55 can get a little expensive. It can get 15, 20 at times. The 48s and 49s can get there a little bit at times. But everything else is, depending on the mood of the market, $7 to $10. Just whatever a normal one is. Like I said, I bought everything they had, and no, that's not it. I bought all that they had of their Franklin's at the time. I haven't been back in a month, and so I just sorted them out, the extra ones I have, into dates. Because I had so many. And I had a crap load of 63Ds. I've got over 2 rolls of those now. Some of these don't have a lot in them, but there was enough to make a spot for them. Yeah, the NIFCs, I didn't get rid of them because, first off, I'm not getting near as many as people like Big Flip and Rob and all them are. But I'm figuring as time goes on, if people are collecting NIFCs and they need one to fill, and if I do start getting into actual coin roll hunting where people can donate and things like that, if they need an NIFC for their book or something, I have it, I'll just send it along with it. And that's why I'm keeping the NIFCs, because I can help people finish their collections. And I don't mind doing that. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing there. I've generated enough coinage that if I ever do start some kind of coin roll auction or some kind of coin roll hunting, something like that, then I've got enough to sustain until at least the market stabilizes, I think. Because I don't like 40%ers, but I wind up with them. And I've got like almost 3 rolls of them. And those will be the first to go if I ever get rid of something, because I just don't like 40%ers. It takes up the same amount of space as a 90%er, and it's worth less than half. So, and you really only need 10 of them, and then you're done. Well, it's getting late. It's almost 2:00 here in Texas. I got a meeting at 10. I do need to get 6-7 hours sleep, hopefully. If I get to go to bed anytime soon, I got a few things I got to do first. But I appreciate y'all sticking around, hanging out with me, watching me go through those coins, see if there's anything in there. Sticking around to look at some of my collection. If any of y'all find out anything else about these dimes, let me know. I'd really like to know as much information as I can about them, because I know there's something here. I know there's got to be some kind of special thing here. I don't know if something like this ever gets recognized to where if you get them graded, they actually say this is the, like DDO F101s, like things like that. If they'd ever do something like that with these kinds of errors. But I'd like to find out more about them. Definitely would. Yeah, Silver, is good talking with you, man. I enjoyed the conversation. No problem. But yeah, it's beyond late here. I'm pretty tired, and I'm ready to batten it down. So, guys, as always, stay safe. Have a blessed day, and be kind to each other. All right, guys. Bye.